And welcome back, everybody. It's Creed Redundancy back again, the one known as CR with this late night chit chat. And hopefully, I actually set it up so it's actually that one. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I forgot to double check, but I'm pretty sure I did. Let me just say something in the chat. Double check that, and it looks like that's good. Yes, I got the chat. Now, I'm sorry that the notification wasn't as in advance as I would like. I had to take care of a few things, and you might actually see it because I actually might actually have to go back outside. So hopefully everyone's doing well on this late night chit chat with me here. And yes, everyone, I actually have look, one of the solar lights on. I'm not specifically using it, but I do have it. What's that? What's up, man? Did you? No, wait. I know you didn't get snow. I know you didn't get snow. It snowed up here, by the way. Like, that's why I'm actually late for the chat for this. I was supposed to start at the top of the hour, now they're at the bottom of the hour. When I needed some time and I had to charge up my device. Might actually have to go back out there. What's new? Well, today's first day of spring, eh? Yeah. And you would be aware of, I think we're getting a 404 error. Spring is definitely not loaded here. And remember, everyone, I showed this. I did a stream earlier in the day. So, like, I can't even make this stuff up. Like, look at that. Like, look at that. Yes, that's the other one. I might actually have to come back out here. Yeah. I know, right? Although it has stopped now, finally. Finally. Anyways, let me go back inside. Whew. Yeah, I was actually almost breaking a sweat. I had to stop. I had to stop what I was doing. I'm like, oh, should I just take off my jacket or open it up a bit? I'm like, no, I'll just open it up a bit. And I stopped what I was doing. I didn't want to open up I didn't even want to take off my jacket because there was a breeze. I would have cooled off, but I would have got too cold too fast. What's up, Pally? I see you in there with a dot. Hey, if you add a couple more dots, that might count as flurries, right? Right? If you add a couple dots, maybe an apostrophe. Maybe apostrophe counts as flurries, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's still more of it outside. I'm just kind of... I gotta dry off my mitts a little bit here. Oh, these guys are here. See? Yeah. I think this symbolizes today right here, straight up. Let these dry off here a little. It's finally stopped. There was so much of my mitts were getting wet. Right. I was almost debating on bringing out the jumbo mitts because they're a little bit more water resistant than these other mitts I got. Yeah. Can you spare someone that warmth, Hallie? That'd be nice. You just have to move it east, just a bit, right? Just move it east, right? Move it east like what, 16 hours drive or whatever at least. Maybe 24. No, 16. Yeah, it should be 16 hours. That's a 16-hour drive. At least. Yes. That's why I'm late to this stream, starting this stream, because I had to finish up. At least more or less finish up. I'm actually just having a coffee. A little pick-me-up. Yeah. Like I said, 404 error. Spring is cannot load here right now. It's kind of lagging behind. Forget to wait 5 minutes for the weather to change. I'm gonna have to wait 5 days at this rate. Or it'll seem like it anyways. Now supposedly I'm supposed to see sun tomorrow. So we'll see how much of it actually kinda melts out or dissipates. Like I could sort of see the ground. Underneath all that snow. 10 Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. Damn. That's some of that warm valley. You know, if you can spare a degree or two. If you can spare a degree or two. Alright. Yeah. That'd be nice. Yes, Howie. Because I'm stepping into the washroom here. I did do that thing before this came. Yes. Yes. Mother Nature might have provided snow, but she also provided some rain. Just not right now. I did manage to gather a little bit of it. Not too much. It'll just offset some of this air water I have to use anyways, so. Yeah, while you're seeing that, I'm seeing like totally the opposite thing. Like totally the opposite thing right now. Nothing but snow. No, just kidding. I mean, it wasn't even that bad this week actually. This is just kind of ending the work week, as they say. I mean, this will probably stick around for the weekend, more or less. It'll have to warm up way above freezing for a little bit, 4 or 5 Celsius for a couple days for whatever I got today and such to melt out. I mean, it's really, I shouldn't say it's fluffy, but it's wet snow. So I mean, like, once the sun starts to hit it or the temperature rises to that 40 Fahrenheit range with some sunshine, it'll start to melt. But until then, I'm gonna have to stack it up a little bit higher. Hello, Sunflower. How are you doing, Sunflower? Hopefully you're doing well. And I know both of you and Howie, I know both of you left me a comment. So, I did notice it, I just haven't replied back to them yet. Among some other people. How are you doing, Sunflower? I haven't seen you around in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. Yes, everyone. I'm gonna pace myself doing this. I gotta do it in a certain way. Make sure my battery doesn't drop too suddenly. But I'll multitask here. Why not? I'm gonna come back outside here. No word of a lie. I am outside, everyone. Look. Well, I'm actually outside. The only reason I can do this now is because the temperature's not that high. I mean, not that low. My battery's not that drained that fast. Right. Usually, I don't usually show this because usually it's way too cold for the device, right, and stuff. Right. So, figure I do some of it here. Yeah, first day of spring, everyone. Yeah, I don't think so. Not this time around. Not this time around. Yeah. Oh. Just a snowbank. Like, look, I could stick the shovel right here. Like, what? Oh, okay, maybe right there. Like, look at that. I'm not even, like, look. My hand, I'm holding the phone and my hand's right here. The handle's right here. It's enough snow to stick the shovel up in it. I'm just kind of pushing this to the side a little. I'll pick this back up in the morning. This is what I usually do. Whew. Yeah, see? Like, look at this. Like I said, it is supposed to be like sunny tomorrow afternoon for me. I am supposed to see above freezing, barely, but it will be above freezing, so I don't know. If I can expose the ground again, like right there, might be able to melt or, melt away a little. Especially if the sun comes out, especially +1, 33 Fahrenheit, with sunshine, yeah, it'll probably melt. Yeah. Late night chit chat with me. Literally a late night chit chat. It's no place like home, right? Yeah. I was talking to some people. So people I know, and they're even starting to be like, I'm starting to miss spring. I'm like, yeah, me too. I don't know why. Oh, because it's supposed to be the first day of spring yet. We're shoveling again for another year of it. I don't like what I saw last year, like +6, 41, 42 Fahrenheit. Not this time around. Definitely not this time around. So I'm not tick breaker. Alright. Brief moment. Come back out. I just want to make sure my phone doesn't drop too suddenly while I'm out here. I'll come back out. I just want to make sure my battery doesn't drop so suddenly. Because it is below freezing. More or less. Maybe it's like 31 Fahrenheit, -1 right now. So, plug back in my phone here. Hey, I know, right? I know. What's up, Dave? DK? How's it going, Dave? Yeah. Yeah. I think I heard it was like 17 down in Windsor today. Alright, 66, 65 Fahrenheit. Yeah. Definitely don't feel like that out here. Whew. I might actually have to put on my jacket the next time I go back out there. I was just doing it quick, right? That's why you kept seeing me moving, right? So, because actually earlier before I set up the stream, and like about an hour ago, I actually was wearing my winter jacket. I'm only wearing a hoodie, right? Because like I said, it's not that cold though. But I actually was starting to break a sweat outside. Just like I was about to, so I actually had to stop what I was doing. Because it was one of those, I can open up my jacket, but it's too cold. I can take off my jacket, but it's too cold. So I'm like, no, I'll just stop what I'm doing. Just kind of let some of that excess heat out before I start breaking a sweat. Because obviously I don't want to break a sweat outside. Especially right now. Alright? Moisture or water and cold don't mix too well. Right? Yeah. Of course, why am I not surprised you saw 17? Why am I not surprised? Yeah. Why am I not surprised? So yes, I have some other things I'm gonna show. Not just that, by the way. I'm just making sure I do parts of it and multitask a little here. I mean, it's not too bad outside for me now. I've got most of it out of the way. Most of it. And hopefully, my goal is to actually get it back to a dry state again. We'll see how much of it I can actually do for tomorrow. Because I'm only supposed to see just barely above freezing, then it's supposed to fall below freezing again for even daytime highs. So like, that's why I'm taking the time to do it pretty good. Now that way I don't have to worry about it, and there won't be any snow on there. I won't have to deal with it for a little bit. And not only that, I won't have to worry so much about black ice or something like that. Because right now, I didn't notice it when I was outside, but because it's still, like I said, it's like 0 - 1 right now. So, but it will start to freeze. I know it really is. Now, do you, Dave? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Although I wouldn't mind a greenhouse right now, I wouldn't mind one right now. That might actually be useful if I think about it. Just plugging in my phone here. Then use the battery bank. See, I actually still hold on. Make sure it's actually charging. Yeah. See, I'm still. See, oh, come on. See, that battery bank. Yeah. Like I showed earlier. See, it's still got 1 bar on it for now. I'm using it right now. But, make sure yeah. So I can move around and not be tethered to, like, cable, an outlet, I should say. I still have to tether it, but I can put the battery bank in my pocket for now. Yeah, I got you, Howie. Like I said, that wouldn't be such a bad thing right about now. I wouldn't mind one right about now. Yeah, let me have a sip of coffee here. I know I'm drinking coffee quite late, but I'm also doing stuff too, so I'll burn off the energy. Yep, it looks exactly like this morning, except for there's more snow on the ground, and it's still cloudy. It looks... That's the only difference right now for me. As I take a look outside. At least it stopped. At least I can see more of the cement, so it won't be so bad. I was just trying to be proactive about it as much as possible. Like even earlier today, I was planning for this. I was actually planning for this. This is why I said earlier on my previous stream that I did earlier on this Friday, right? That I was gonna go live later in the evening. I wasn't sure when, and I did mention that it was gonna snow, right? So this is why I didn't quite set this stream like exactly at a certain time until I was more sure that okay, now it's not stop kind of deal, right? Because also I have to be responsible. I have to do that kind of stuff first before YouTube and stuff like that, right? I had to make sure that was done first, or in this case, multitask and do it at the same time. Learning how to sail at the moment. Have a bunch of book on it and friends. Oh, okay. But hopefully that works out well. I was trying to come up with something funny, but I figured I'm like, never mind. That's not the sail right. If I start saying that, oh, dang! I just said that. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah. So, like I said, just getting some stuff out of the way. Actually, where's my mitts here? I guess they're not too wet. No, it's just barely damp. Let them hang dry for a bit. So, those mitts you guys saw, I actually just recently got them. Well, I shouldn't say I recently got them, but I've had them for a little bit. I know I did not make them. I didn't actually need to get them, but I got them for a good deal, that's why. Like, literally a pretty good deal. There's synthetic, right, acrylic. They're not wool, but I wanted to try them out. They were alright for today. I've tried them out earlier in the season, so they'll probably handle 0 Fahrenheit minus 17 Celsius at the low end. But yeah, and obviously anything like right now would be able to handle it. But you planted some onions, Dave? Wow, that's so awesome. Ooh, with save seeds too. Keyword. Oh yeah, yeah. I would kind of figure, right? You live out on an island, right? On the coast, right? Water moves things around, right? And stuff like that. Speak of water moving around, right? One of the things I made sure I did was I made well, the channel's filled with snow right now, but I actually carved out a channel for the water, the standing water, or the runoff, the melt here, right? It was doing such a great job. It was actually because I had like this standing water that I was trying to like, because basically there was an ice dam on the sun, hence it didn't. It would pool because the height of the water is lower than the ice dam, right? So I basically chipped out part of the ice dam to make a trail, right, like a tunnel or a path, right? As many people call it around here, right? But basically, allow the water to carve through that ice, right? And actually, after once I started to get it going, it was automatically doing it, right? Now, obviously not right now, but one of the things I did was I actually made sure that I didn't cover my channel too much. I wanted to make sure that channel was intact, because later, right, proactively later, right, this snow will melt, the temperature will rise, right? But I'll be back at square one for that again. So if I actually get a channel started as it melts or as the temperature rises to like +5, maybe 40 Fahrenheit or higher, maybe even or whatever, right? It would automatically melt, turn into water, and hopefully sink into the channel because it's higher than the channel, and start carving it. And then the next thing I know, it's automatically doing it. If that makes any sense. That's always one thing I always keep in mind, right? Not to have these ice dams prevent the water from flowing, the snow melt from melting out. I mean, from flowing out, right? Or, because, like, if I actually didn't do it, like, earlier, there would have been this big ice dam, right? It would have been, like, yeah. Yeah. That I know, Howie. I know you love making your own soil. That's for sure. This spot. If you guys have seen the last update that I did on this chop and drop, right, it is actually starting to look quite nice. I mean, yeah, it still needs some time, right, obviously, because it's only been over the winter, but it's starting to look quite nice for what it is. I mean, it'll still take some time to break down, but that spot that I have it in, because I can actually see parts of it, right, I was just like, yeah, it's starting to come together, right? You know, I mean, obviously, as spring rolls around, eventually, fingers crossed. Hopefully, I won't keep seeing this 404 error where spring failed to load here in Canada for me for CR right now on this day, on this night, on a Friday. Still TGIF though. You won't buy what I put in there. I don't know what. Yeah, I get. Yeah, I just see what you mean there. Let's see where I'm at. Well, I'm making another pass on it. I'll make a quick pass on it. In terms of another pass on it. I just want to increase my phone capacity here. As I walk back outside here, once again, more snow. See, you could see my charging cable. Yeah, nice. I'd show you guys the soil, but it's all covered. At least on the bright side, at least I'm getting that kind of nitrogen, right? The poor man's nitrogen. They say, I guess there is nitrogen within this snow mixed in. As soon as it melts, it'll and all that stuff. Whew. Well, it's kind of chilly out there. Yeah, more snow. Might as well just keep pushing the snow over here. Like I said, multitasking. Like, look, you can see some of that underneath right there. Once I pile it up to the side here. As you can see, I'm not lifting. I'm just pushing. Lifting snow is always more exhausting. Right? Try to push. Right? I tell people that all the time. Try not to lift your snow if you don't have to. Like, I get there's certain times you have to do it, but yeah. Yes. And in the snow. Yeah. I got you. And you didn't even write that as shorthand, right? How we wrote the elemental symbol for it. And he decided to add that in, right? Oh, man. Remember, I'm doing this with one hand. If I had both hands available, I would do more. Hey, remember when you guys make me hungry, right? Yeah, I remember that. Remember that, everyone. But yeah. See, now I don't have to post an update. Oh, hey, CR, how was the first day of spring? I'd be like, yeah, it got delayed. Winter decided to make another appearance here for me. Oh, by the way, this snow is wet. By the way. This is why it's heavy. It's actually quite heavy. I'm just like, sometimes what I'll do is like shave the top of it, right? That, and just make a pass, real quick, right? Move a little bit less, but I can push it more. If that makes any sense. So just shave off the top. All right, see. Shave off the top. There's a tip right there. If you ever actually have to do this. Maybe not necessarily Howie. Or Dave. But some other people out there that might be watching this. Right? And stuff like that. Oh, you were raking stone? Well, I think I'm a little bit far behind that, Dave. I'm a little bit behind that. A little here. I'm just a little bit behind on that. Hey, look at that. At least I can start seeing the ground. That's a start. Like I said, I'm not going to do this all right now. Because I'm actually making quite a bit of noise out here. As you can see there, right? Too heavy for one hand for me, so I'm just shaving off the top, a little bit of layers at a time, right? And going like that. Like Howie would say, compost, biomass and all that stuff, the soil's made by layers, right? Well, I'm removing layers of snow. That's something I keep in mind. Oh, sorry. One of my sensor lights turned off. Let me just go. Come on, turn on. There we go. No, I'm using a scoop, right? I'm not using one of those wider ones, so I can do this. And like I said, I'm just shaving off layers of it. Right? And getting it done. Like I said, I'm holding the device right now. Right? That's why I had to go get the battery bank. Battery's still charging. Right? Get this out of the way a little bit more. Like, if I had both hands, I would probably do a better job than this right now, but whatever. You move the snow like a... I'm glad you're really rusty. Well, I picked up a couple of tricks, right? Couple of tricks. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. I can dip into a snowblower, right? But, you know, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I just do it by hand. Yeah. It just depends. Like, sometimes, like what you see me doing right now, piling it to the side or pushing it, right? Sometimes I'll pile it to the side and bring a snowblower out or something like that, right? Because usually I can shovel parts of it, right? So, yeah. Okay, I've made a foot of progress. A foot of progress there. I'll do a little bit more and then walk back in. Actually, I'm not walk back in, no. Oh, look at that. Like magic, guys. Look, magic. Ooh, I'm making the shovel stand by itself. Whew. All right. I'm gonna walk back in. Like I said, I'm still charging my phone. And I don't want my device getting too cold out here. The only reason I can show it is because I'm charging the device. Right? And it's not that cold out. Like, usually I'm not able to show this because it's like so cold, right? Like, if it was -20, -2 Fahrenheit, yeah, my battery would drop too suddenly from the cold. But tonight, it's not too bad. I mean, hey Dave, that's like me. No, that's never. No, you're just being. I mean, yeah, that just means you can do more, or a greater area, or more surface area, right? You know, if you're shelving a little path or whatever, I mean, like, you can't really use a tractor, right? Sometimes you might have to do it by hand, right? Or whatever, right? Or you're just doing it all on the fly, or you don't want to create a lot of noise or something like that. Okay, okay there. I figure, if I ever have a tractor, it would have CR on it, right? Or in it. I'm pretty sure I would go towards that. I wouldn't mind a picnic basket right now. Kind of getting hungry. All that shoveling here. But I'll have a snack later. My coffee's still warm. Whew. That wasn't so bad. Like I said, if I wasn't holding my phone and recording this or streaming it at the same time, I would have used both hands. It would have looked a little bit better. Right? I just kind of keep pushing it to the side all the way to the main snowbank that I have right now. So, like I said earlier in the day, on my previous stream, right? There was a reason why I didn't make a snow quincy type shelter earlier. Someone was asking me that. I was just like, it's because the energy I have to put into it, right? I mean, back in December when it snowed more, I was just like, I just didn't feel like it, or I didn't have the energy to want to do it. Because it takes quite a bit of effort, right? To make a quincy. Because I'm piling up snow and stuff like that, right? And usually that involves lifting the snow, right? To a certain degree. Right? So, like, there's a lot of energy. Shelter making can be very hot, right? So, yeah. Because I was almost thinking about it last month, but I'm like, some of the snow was melting too fast. All right, and it was already too late this month. Hi, Sunflower. Welcome back. But that means I have to shovel that part again, then. Dave. That means I gotta shovel that again. Alright, and that means I would have to do it again. Alright. I mean, if you want, I can sign my name in the snow. I can sign the channel initials in the snow randomly. You know, even earlier today, I was like thinking of like making this imprint deep in the snowbank, just for fun, something you would be able to see from up high. Like I'm always thinking of like, I always wanted to do that. Just go out in an open field that has a bunch of snow and just make this giant like sign, like, you know, like crop circles but wintertime version. I was almost thinking about that. That I would like if I did it right now. Like maybe not right now. No, but actually probably right now because it just stopped snowing. I write this big sign in this open area, right? Before like people walk over it, that says like, "Where is spring?" That's what I would write. People would probably look outside or whatever, like, or people that are looking up from above, or they'd be like, "Someone write that," but they'd be like big ass letters that are like 10 feet long, and stuff like that. Although that'd be kind of funny if I used a drone for something like that. I mean, I don't have one, but that'd be kind of funny if I did. I'm done avoid that yellow snow from Dave here. I'm done avoid that one here. But like before this came, the snow was starting to look more darker in color, like even a gray, some darker tones in there, from the some of the coffee grounds I've used. Or now, obviously, it's covered now. It's all underneath now. Might be able to show something if I go back outside, but yeah. Oh, yeah, battery bank's still good. And Sunflower saying hi to everybody. You still need to chat again, Sunflower. I know you've been busy, so. And also, yeah, I'm busy today, apparently. So. Oh, wow. Wow, Sunflower. Wow, Howie, I can't believe you got him. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So, no word of lie, I actually have not eaten this evening yet. You're probably like, what? So you didn't eat yet? What the hell? No, it's because I wanted to do the work first, then eat. Right? Because I knew I wanted to be in a more awake state to do this, to finish it off and all that stuff, right? That way, when I eat later, probably after the stream, I'll be nice and relaxed and I can just, eat more if I want to, right? Because, like, even yesterday and the day before, right? Because the snow was forecast for, like, all week, right? I just didn't know how much and when it would fall and such, right? But I knew that I was going to need the energy, right? So I made sure I increased my caloric intake just a tad. Because I knew, like, pushing snow is one thing, like, lifting snow is another thing, right? But, this requires energy. Right, even if you're using a snowblower, right, you're manually moving it, right, or you gotta push it, or you gotta control it, right. I mean, if you're using like a bobcat or whatever, I mean that's different, but. Nice. Let's see here. I will show you guys something. Oh, hey, Howie, remember when you asked me if I'm in a washroom, by the way. Yeah. I am gathering it. By the way. Yeah. Remember when you asked me that entire time? Or when I said something? Oops. Well, you know what that sound was. Yeah. I still have my poncho hanging in the washroom right now. Yes, I actually did wear a poncho this week too. Among some other things I did this week. Actually, I think I saw like every last thing this week. All rolled up in a nice, neat 5-day package. Right. But right now, I could see anything, precipitation, anything happen. It could be warmer, it could be colder, it could be snowy, it could be raining, or all of the above. All right. For anyone that didn't see where I showed some freezing rain where the title says "Action Required Now," right? That was actually earlier this calendar year. Right. That's not something I saw back in December or November. That's actually something I saw back in January. By the way, yeah. So I saw that and then this. All right. Yeah. Well, this is why some of my preparedness has been drawn towards the winter season now a little bit more. It's just one of those things because if there's supposed to be this 80-20 thing, right, where you're trying to do like 20% to get 80% or whatever, however they word it, right? Me preparing for something like this, not necessarily what I'm doing today, but something similar to this, is probably fairly proactive, very beneficial because more likely than not, I'll probably see it. I'll have to resort to it, use it. A shovel, right? A shovel, right? Like someone like Howie, I know Howie got rid of a shovel, right? And I get it, right? Maybe he still well, I know he would have a spade, right? But like in terms of winter shovel, probably not so much. He probably has one, right? Just because how rare it is. But for me, I get a few. I get a few more than just one. Just a few more than just one. Okay, there, Howie. Okay, okay. Okay, Howie. What a kidder this guy is here. I do a late night stream and everyone starts joking around now. Yeah. Double check here. Oh, everyone, look at this. This is what I was actually waiting on. See, look. See, now my battery indicator is blinking, which means that it needs to be recharged here. So, at least I got some of the power into my device. Drop my cable down here. So, I am going to take the time now to charge this up. Plug it into something I have on the side, this USB port that I have on the side here. I just want to take care of this real quick here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. Hey, Dave. Hey, you know when, Dave? I did actually wear rubber boots this week. No word of a lie there. Right, so. Because I actually had to. Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to plug this in. Hold on a sec. Just making sure. Yes. Let's see here. I must have flipped the camera. Yeah, see. Yeah, see. Look at a little dot red. Here, let me shine some light, see. Wait, a charge. Yes. This is red. I do have one of these too. But yeah, I'll make sure that charges now. Right now. Let that charge overnight. But I decided to move some of the power around. I eventually actually did charge up some other devices too, so top them back off and stuff. Even this air battery bank that I used to actually make that red light, yeah, that too. You carry a rain punch? Well, yeah, I can understand that for where you are, Howie. You know, it was surprising, like, the other day, I'm like, I needed a rain poncho in March. I cannot remember the last time I needed a rain poncho in March. Right? Like, I'm aware in April, yeah. May, and obviously June, July, blah, 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 right? Even, like, I think I've even worn a poncho in September before, right? Never in October, but I'm like, I don't remember the last time I wore a rain poncho in March. But I actually had to. And the funny thing is, I'm wearing a rain poncho over top of a winter jacket. There's puddles on the ground, yet there's snow banks. But like I said, I didn't want to get wet because it wasn't that warm. Like, literally, like, obviously I was seeing rain or precipitation, liquid precipitation, right? But it was, like, only, like, 37, 36 Fahrenheit, +2, +3, right? Like, and for anyone that is aware, right? At those conditions, right, if you get wet and you don't dry out, and you're not wearing something like wool or whatever, right, that can hold a little bit of heat even if it gets wet, you're gonna get cold, right? Especially if your insulation starts getting wet, right? Like, I wanted to make sure, like, the shell of my jacket can handle a little bit of moisture, but I'm like, pretty sure not. It's for cold, maybe a little bit of wet snow, dry snow, flurries and stuff like that, right? Not meant for actual rain, right? You know, it's not like a Gore-Tex jacket or anything like that, right? It's resistant, right? You know what I mean? So I was just like, yeah, I need to wear a poncho. I'm actually glad I did, because it was at night, and I was outside for like an hour, right? Because I was helping someone out, right? I'm like, I felt chilly, not because I was wet, just because the temperature was kind of dropping out, right? It was actually, the rain I was seeing was changing out into wet snow, right? As the temperature fell, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I brought this with me. It was very proactive for me. Sort of, Dave, sort of. I wouldn't really call it that, but sort of. I'm trying to, you know, get the fancy stuff, right? But I'm also realizing, who am I without the gear too, right? But yeah, I mean, I got something here, but it's nothing special, nothing overly special here. It's nothing overly special, right? Right? Nothing to vault over. Take care, Howie. Good night. I appreciate you dropping by. See ya, Howie! Don't forget to pass a couple of degrees to me. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got something like that, Dave. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I'll clearly say it's no, like, brand name like Jackery. Let's just say, right? What's out there? Equal Flow, such and such, right? In terms of that scale. I got the smaller scale stuff, the portable scale stuff, right? I don't have like the mid range or high end, the mid range or larger scale. Yeah, larger scale. I was gonna say higher tier, but it's actually scale. But yeah, not quite that. Well, at least all the snow has stopped. It's stopped for the last like hour now. So I'll probably be able to get a little bit more out of it. Oh, did you? Oh, that's cool, Dave. That's cool. That's cool. That also reminds me. Let me see here. Plug in something here. Shed some light. Turn on this other light that I have here. Because I actually was sitting here with like a solar light for a little bit. I'm like, no, I need to see a little bit more than that. So I guess I have it on now. As I'm trying to get some stuff ready here. Whew. Yeah, there's a little bit of moisture in my jacket right now. I mean, the insulation's still dry, but the shell was starting to go wet. I mean, like the insulation underneath, like what I'm wearing underneath is still dry, so it's not like I totally got wet. But yeah, yeah, but that's so cool, dude. You got something like that. Nice. I mean, I got what I got. Get my hands on what I can, right? I know other people have some of this. I do not yet. But hopefully one of these days it'll come true. Hopefully. So I really don't want to turn all these extra lights on for the video, but whatever. Alright? Like I said earlier, I am still working on this right here. I haven't put it back away. I'll probably take a look at it. And you're probably like, ooh, what's that, CR? Well, you'll have to wait for the video on it. I've shown pieces of it every so often. Maybe, you know what? Let me open it up real quick. I will show, let's see here. Because there's a few things in here that I want to show as a dedicated video first. That's why I actually haven't shown the contents. Right? Like, don't get me wrong, there is stuff in here. You know what's funny? I've shown this bag more than I've shown the contents. This bag has actually made an appearance several times now on the video. You might have noticed it last Q3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Q3 of 2025, and I showed parts of it. Right. Yes. Here, I will show one thing here. Providing I can set it up. Hold on. It's not resting correctly. Okay. There we go. I've shown this in a video technically, but yes. See? Oh, that's cool. Dave, no pun intended, yeah. Anytime, anywhere. That's why I decided to put it on this. It was just like, I just added that on, right? I didn't really necessarily need it, but I was just like, yeah, I'll put some words in there, right? That is the writing instrument that I'm using within this at the moment. Alright. Among some other things I have in here. I mean, if you've seen kits or bags like this, you kind of know what's in this, right? You just don't know specifically. Okay, you would probably understand the requirement or the need for something similar to this. I mean, like, here, I'll show. I guess I can pull this out. I'll have to put it back in, but. Alright. Because I've shown this before. Oh, it's one of the seating pads I have in here. Yeah. I don't have the reflective layer in here. But... And this, like I said, made from scraps. Apparently I got specific tape in here. I'm actually, you know, now that I think about it, now I'm kind of glad I actually pulled this out. Because I just realized I don't have the reflective layer here. I mean, it would still be warm. Like a seating fan, I just won't have the reflective layer. But yeah. Maybe it's a good idea that I decided to do this. Because I don't think I updated this since the time that I've shown how to make the seating fan. I don't think I updated it. I made a primitive version of one. I just don't have the reflective layer in here. But you know what? Hey, I got an idea. Yeah. I got an idea. I won't show this for very long though, but I will do this really. I'm not gonna do this long. By the way, let's go back outside. Oh, look, I'm back outside. I'm gonna put this down just to prove my point here. Look. I'm gonna stand on this only. Winter boot. Alright? And I'll stand right here for a little bit of time here. Again, and do this, right? Like, don't get me wrong, the top of my foot is gonna get cold because it's exposed, but I have insulation reducing the conduction loss on the bottom right now. Actually, the bottom of my left foot is actually warmer than my right foot. For now. Alright. Yes. I'll just stand here for a little bit. I'll wait till I get to that hour mark. I'll just stand here until I get to the hour mark. I'm at 57, 13, 14 right now. 2 minutes, right? But yeah, just to show this in real time too. I've shown sitting on it, right? And yes, that is not artificial snow. That is not potato flakes. This is the real deal. It will melt if I put it in my hand and get my hand cold. Let's see. And my foot's actually, the bottom of my foot's quite warm right now. You know. Alright, that's enough of that. I'm gonna go back inside. I just wanted to show that part of it. Alright? But that's why I have something like that. Alright? It's a very useful item, especially in the winter for me. And like I said, you know, winter is one of these things I have to deal with, right? So a simple piece of gear like this is quite useful. It allows me to, you know, have insulation underneath. I could sit on a snowbank. I could sit on a cold, wet bench or whatever, right? Even if it's snow covered. Because I have insulation underneath me to reduce the conduction loss to the ground or to the surface I'm sitting or standing on. Like I said, like I showed earlier, right? Standing on the snow with a sock, and the only thing protecting me from the cold was that insulation, reducing the heat loss, right? And stuff like that. And obviously, because it's more plasticky, you know, it's gonna resist the water aspect of it. So yes, I'm kind of, you know, now I'm kind of glad I pulled this out. I think I will make an update to that. It won't increase the weight that much, but it will give me some more beneficial things out of it. Oh, by the way, everyone. Not specifically this one. If this was reflective, right? If this is reflective, I've tried this before, right? I would have to get the one that ones I have, right, that are more reflective. But if that was reflective, maybe I'll go get one. I actually have used it. Like, I didn't explain it in that video because, like, I actually have to show it in a certain angle and stuff like that. Here we go. I got one right here. One of my usual ones that I wear. They're different. Hold on one sec. Just coming into the room here. Alright. So instead of this one, this is usually what I usually wear. I'll have to update this one to look more like this. But something like this, because I have this reflective mylar aluminum type of surface, reflective, right? Not deflective, but reflective surface. One of the things that I can actually do with something like this, and I've actually tried this out, I can actually warm up my face with this in the sun. You're probably like, what? Really? Yes. Because one thing I can do is actually reflect the sunshine into my face to warm it up, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna stare at the sun, right? I'm closing my eyes, wearing sunglasses, whatever, right? But if my face is actually cold, I can actually feel the warmth. And basically what I do is I make it into a curve slightly. Kind of more, concave. Maybe similar to parabolic lens, right? To get that kind of that angle, right? Because I've actually tried this before, and I'm like, yes, it actually, I can actually warm up my face slightly, alright? Where it's less cold. Even to the point, because I wear glasses already, where my glasses will actually start to fall out. Like, if I have frost on my glasses, I actually can, like, defrost it, alright? So, something I've actually started to do a little bit with it at times, alright? I mean, honestly, it's not that help me now, right, to keep my face warm, but during the daytime, it was sunny. I've actually tried, and I mean, I actually tried it when it was below freezing, alright? You know, and I'm trying it on a warm day, alright? I mean, yeah, there's gonna be, like, the greater the cold, the less warm it feels because, because the colder it is outside, but it's just one of those things. I can warm up something like my nose, for example, because a lot of the time, for me, it's actually my nose that's getting cold because I don't want frost on my glasses, so I'm not covering my nose all the way and stuff like that. So I've actually used it several times now, where I'm actually, like, just shoveling, and I actually have it with me outside, right, because I want to take a break, right, without necessarily go back inside right away, right. And it'll be sunny, my nose will be cold, and I'll just kind of arch it more like a U, right? Like you'll feel the warmth. You'll feel that solar energy, right? If it was sunny right now, obviously it's not, but if it was clear out, I would feel that solar energy directly, right? The 1x, right? But basically, I'm reflecting it at an angle and curving it, so my nose would warm up. For example, I can warm up my face, and it's quite useful. Yeah, that's cool, Dave. I'll let my battery charge a little bit more. Here. I'm just gonna sit down for a minute. Here, I'll let this go here. Actually, I'm gonna get the seating pad. Hold on. Because I think I'm gonna check the gear while I'm at it. Because I already have it out. I think this is... Oh, yeah, I do have a reflective layer in here. It was just on the inside more. All I have to do is just reposition it so it's more on the outside. Yeah, there we go. I knew I had a reflective layer in here. Usually I will add it in here, right? And like I said in making something like this, right? This was just made with scraps. Scraps, right? All byproducts of packaging. All this stuff, right? This is nothing super, expensive, or, but sometimes it doesn't have to be expensive to work. I mean, this does work. I mean, honestly, the figure it would hold more heat and stuff like that, or have more insulation, right? And stuff like that. But something like this, I could just sit on the snow if I want to. Sorry, it's kind of bright, but yeah, I got this reflective layer. What's up, man? WD? WD? Meant to be cute. How are you doing, man? I haven't seen you around for a while. Hopefully you're doing well. I actually had to take a look. I'm like, oh yeah. Hey, now that I remember now, I almost feel like this other time I feel like I see this other. I feel like this other chat stream I did where I saw WD Rock and Roll and Sunflower. It's reminded me of this one time. I'm pretty sure, but it's been years. But anyways. Yeah. I'm familiar with that. But yeah, like I was saying, now I'll update my seating pad here. Yes, WD, I was actually standing outside with my foot on it. The only reason I'm not doing it right now is because I need to charge up my device. My device was getting cold. My foot didn't get cold yet. The top did, but not the bottom, because I had insulation reducing the conduction loss towards the snow in the ground. Right? Like, I can actually sit with this, right? I still actually have to... I haven't gone through it long enough where I actually feel cold with it. Right? Because every time I use it, it just starts to warm up. Or, I shouldn't say warms up, but it reduces the heat loss to the point where maybe there's a net benefit, a net positive, I guess. Right? I mean, without a laser thermometer or whatever, I can't be certain. But, as soon as if I sit on this for 15 minutes, as soon as I stand up from it, right, I feel the bottom, like this part right here that I'm sitting on. Like, if I was sitting on this, right, 15 minutes later, I can feel warmth right here. It's very, very short-lived, because obviously that heat's not escape, right? But I noticed it, and I was just like, yes, there is some warmth holding back, just slightly, right? It's not thermal mass, it's just insulation holding a little bit of the heat, because it doesn't last that long, right? As soon as I not sit on it, it's not start to cool off, right? But basically right now, if this was my butt on it, I'd be like I can actually start feeling the warmth coming back, right? That insulational value of this, right? Like right here, it's starting to get warm. I just can't show you guys because, yeah, you'll have to take my word for it though. Oh, you do remember. Oh, WD, I will show you. If you stick along long enough, I'll show it. I already showed it earlier. Dave was here. Dave's seen it with his own eyes. Well, via video or live stream, but still with his own eyes. Right? So, yeah. Alright, take care. Really, Dave, I like how he said that. Straight up. He pulled a CR there. Night, Dave. Take care, man. Yeah. Yeah. WD, I'll show you in a little bit. I need to top up my phone a little bit more. I was starting to drop below 50%. I'm like, well, below 40%, so I'm back up to 52. I just need a little bit of time. I'll show you it. I think I showed it earlier, right? I'm just sitting here for right now. Yeah, okay, thanks. But yeah, like I said, this is just, because you just showed up, like, this is just a seating pad made with scraps. That flexible foam stuff, something that looks like Mylar, reflective aluminum, coated, right? So, something to, basically, Mylar with insulation backing it up. Really, that's really what this is, right? Really, that's what it is. Aluminum coated on one end to reflect some radiant heat, and insulation to reduce the conduction loss to the ground, right? Especially if I flip this over, right? Heat reflectiveness, and this insulation is holding back some of that heat. Well, I shouldn't say holding back, but reducing the heat loss towards the ground, for example, if I was actually standing outside. Alright? Just letting my battery charge up a little bit more here. Although I might grab another. I could always grab a battery even. I'm just trying to charge on my phone. But yes. Like some other things I have to do here. But yeah, I've been trying this out in different ways, right? I kind of like this. I mean, yes, it has a fixed bulk, a fixed size to it because I can't compress it, right? Alright, but it doesn't weigh that much, right? As long as I keep it flat, usually I'll put it on the back side of my bag, right behind everything. Basically, it's usually the closest thing to my back in the backpack, right? Usually, right? Because usually I can slide it in there. Let's say between other things I have in there, whatever it is, right? But I've used this several times. I've actually had people try. I actually have had other people try this, right? So, you know, just so like I could say, hey, I'm not biased on this. I've had other people try it, and they're like, yeah, they didn't complain, all right? Because we had to sit outside for a little bit, for like 25 minutes or whatever, right? It was better than having a seating fan. It was better than trying to sit on a cold bench or seat, even if it was wooden. Like, I've sat on metal benches with this, right? Snow, on top of snow, right? I haven't been cold with it. I mean, I haven't tried it for hours and hours and hours, right? But, I mean, like, it starts to warm. Like, if I burn it from an indoor room temperature outside, right? Basically, I would feel, if I would put, it was sitting on it, I would feel that warmth within, like, 20-30 seconds, right? I have actually tried where I've actually left it outside so the insulation itself is cold, ambient temperature, right? And within like 90 seconds or so, maybe even 2 minutes at the most, especially if it was colder, it would start to warm up. I would start to feel heat retention of it, right? It would start to warm up, right? So, for what it is, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah, exactly, right? Something like, this is why I like this, man. Like, it's just so easy. It was so easy to make. I made it from scraps, right? Didn't cost me anything, right? And like, to me, this was like a no-brainer, right? And ever since I've started using it and stuff like that, it's been so useful. I can actually take a seat on the snowbank or whatever. I can take a seat on a bench or whatever, even if it's covered with snow or water, and providing I have it also, but or one of those metal benches or whatever, right? I could sit on that as long as I have the seating pad, won't even notice that cold. Now, like I said, I haven't tried it for long, and I say long periods of time, right? I mean, I've sat on it for 45 minutes, didn't even notice anything, right? As soon as I get up, I'm like, oh, whoa, I forgot how warm my tush is getting here. Because like I stand up, I feel like the convection loss because it's windy. I'm like, oh, yeah, there is some warmth, right? And usually what I'll do is either put it back in my bag or put it underneath my jacket, right? Underneath my hoodie or something like that. Until I get back inside or get back to the back of my backpack to put it back, right? Or something like that. I mean, to me, this is just a no-brainer now. But yeah, exactly. Something like in a vehicle or something like that. You know what? Why not? I'll show this for a little bit of time, not too long, because my battery's not that high. Actually, I gotta remember, the last several times I've done this, I didn't actually put on my jacket. Because I was doing something, but this time around I'm standing around, so yes. Yeah. I mean, if you think about as long as it reduces conduction to the ground, that's what matters, right? That's what matters. Right? That's the important thing. I'm not gonna do this for very long. Because, like I said, I'm trying to charge my battery, and I know my battery will go down because I'm not actively charging it, and it's colder outside. Yes, I'll stand outside for a moment here. I need to turn on the lights here and do this again for the second time. Oh, did I not turn it on? Alright. Ah, seriously. Let's see. Hey, look, we're on. Snow. Hopefully my sensor light stays on. Wait, look. I'll put my... Look. I'm taking my boot. Sorry. Or my lights won't stay on. Look. I'm gonna stand there for a little bit of time. I'm just gonna stand here for a little bit. Alright? Prove my point here on this. A little bit. I've shown this before, but like I said, I actually did this earlier before you showed up in the car. Apparently I'm showing this again. Sorry. I don't know why my airway won't turn on. Oh, thank goodness I have LED light with me, but yeah. Yeah. Aren't you? That's why I said you had to wait, okay? I mean, I'm piling it up, obviously, today, but yeah, see? I mean, don't get me wrong, the top of my foot is cold because it's exposed to the air, but the bottom of my foot is really warm right now because, maybe not right there. There's a piece of snow touching my foot, but, like, I'll just stand here for a little bit of time. I mean, the temperature is just below freezing. 31 Fahrenheit, -1 Celsius, right? It's not like it's super cold, right? But obviously, in the real world, I wouldn't stand on this with just my bare foot or with a sock on, right? Obviously, in the real world, I would wear shoes or boots, right? But this is just to emphasize it, right? 70? I'd take 70, 21 Celsius. I'd take that right now. Just gonna put on the lower mode here. One of the lights I have. But yeah, I can do something like this. I usually sit on it, by the way. I don't usually just stand on it, but yes. Alright, and the bottom of my foot's not cold. Although the top of my foot's getting cold. Because I don't have anything covering it. But yeah, if the top of my foot was covered, I probably could keep this up for a little bit. Right? Anyways, I'm gonna put... Oh. Hold on. It's draining my battery on my phone fast. But yeah, I'll do that real fast. Okay, let's go back inside. I gotta I literally just lost all the percentage that I just gained from charging before you showed up. But because you've been here before, WD, I did it for you, man. I did it for you, man. Let me walk back inside here, but yeah. I'm back inside. Yeah, it's just one of those things I have, right? I was just like, it totally started to make sense. I was just like, you know, especially as I've been trying it out, and where I, you know, I mean, I've sat outside in like -15 Fahrenheit with it. All right, providing I have pants on and the way I'm sitting on it and I'm not wet. Yeah, you know, I was always had a warm tush, as they say. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was for you, man. That was for you. Alright? But yeah. I mean, it's not even that thick, right? Like, I know about R value and stuff like that, right? But I'm like, it's not even that thick, really. And like I said, I've sat on snow with it. I've sat on cement with it, or metal with it, or I mean, ice too, right? I think one of these days I'll actually, well, I have to wait for the situation to arise, but one of these days, when I'm outside and sitting on it for long periods of time. When I originally explained it, right, I explained it in terms of like these outdoor sports events, right, where people are sitting in stands, which is uh, uh, different things like that, right? So like something like this would be handy, right? So. So I know some people are attend those things or whatever, or sitting in the stands or whatever, and your butt's getting cold. Something like this, it's quite nice, right? Very cost effective too. You can make it with scraps. You might already have the stuff already, right? That kind of thing, right? I mean, a lot of the stuff I reclaimed or whatever, right, to put it together. Basically, just free item, free, as in the number of items, right? Not value, but you're gonna make it for free too, right? Because I'm aware, you know, it kind of sucks having to sit on the snow or on a cold seat, right? Yeah. Oh, that's fast. There, you came back up to 55 real faster. Nice. So, oh, actually, I gotta remember. I gotta remember to put it back in this. Clearly with a CR in it. I need to cover my butt on it, right? Right? Do you understand? Do you concur? That's a lot of CR words right there. Free right there. 33 right there. Anyway, I gotta make sure I put it back in my bag. And the outside's not wet. Put it back in my bag so it's ready for the next time. Alright. Like I said, I've used this before. It's very useful. It's very useful. I mean, there's other ways I can use it. Like I said earlier, I can use it with solar energy too, to a certain degree, right? I can use it for other little things too, kneel on if I had to or whatever too, right? There's a little bit of padding, right, and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's why I have it in the first place, right? That's why I decided to show it off in this air video, right? And stuff like that. And for some of you, you'll actually see me stepping on it, right? Stuff like that. That's why I wanted to show it with my foot against the snow, too, right? I mean, my foot isn't even cold, right? I mean, yeah, the top of my foot got cold, obviously, because it's exposed, but the bottom of my foot, no. I was feeling warmth. It's holding, the radiant heat was reflecting back, and the insulation was holding back the heat loss, so it started to feel a little bit warmer. Because it's hard to show without, like, numbers, but, like, the side that I'm facing, or sitting on, or putting my body against, it feels warm. But the opposite side, right, that's facing the cold, the metal, the snow, the ice, or whatever, is extremely cold. Like, there's a difference, right? The only thing holding back that heat loss is the insulation. Those small, trapped air pockets, right, that are slowing down the heat loss. Hence, the seating pad starts to warm up on the reflective side that I'm sitting or putting my body against, right? It's very similar to, you know, maybe if you used like a Mylar space blanket and a wool blanket, right? For insulation. It'd be very similar to something like that. You would have the heat reflectionness, right? But you would have something like wool, for example, to have some insulation to reduce the the conductive heat loss, for example, right? The Mylar in this case is a reflective part, waterproof part of it, right? You know, and they work pretty good together. Yeah, so that's why I got something like that. No, the only thing is, because it doesn't breathe, man, that's why I don't do it like that. However, it's fine for sitting on or standing on or kneeling on, right? Because there's no way to vent it. Right? I mean, unless I start using like something let's not think, not Gore-Tex, damn it, what's the word, Tyvek, right? Maybe, but I mean, I haven't tried the version like that. However, I'm still looking for a winter cloak. Or make one of the two. I'm still wanting one, actually. I'm still wanting one. But yeah. WD, that has crossed my mind before. But I'm not saying it wouldn't be warm. It's more like, can I control the moisture? Control that, right? Because the materials are synthetic. They don't allow transpiration to go through it, right? It would hold it back. I don't want to feel clammy or, break a sweat, for example, right? Because I haven't tried a version before. I'm like, yes, if it's too warm and I can't take it off, it's too warm then, right? But, that's how it is. Oh, yes. I got a brew more. Put this in here. Keep forgetting I have this video. I'm gonna do something with this real quick here. You know what? I brought out this. Well, maybe. I don't know. I didn't try it like that. Usually, when I did try it, briefly at times, it's been a while, but I would just let some air flow in, right? It's just like venting by opening up your jacket, right? Let some air in, right? Not enough to cool you down all the way, but enough to just reduce the excess buildup of heat, right? You're warm enough, you just kind of, okay, you're too warm, you're starting to break a sweat, and if you stop what you're doing, or whatever, or open up your jacket, it's not get cold, right? So, that even happened earlier to me. I was just like I said, I was shoveling snow. I was just like, I'm starting to I felt like I was starting to break a sweat. I wasn't quite breaking a sweat, right? But I was like, if I can take off my jacket, or vent it, or just open it up. I just opened it up, right? Because I was just like, yeah. I mean, now, if I was outside right now doing a lot of effort, yeah, I probably could get away without a jacket because I'm working hard, but I would still have it. So when I stop what I'm doing, stop the excess energy output, right? I have a warm jacket put on, right? So, yeah. But yeah, that did cross my mind. Out a few things here. Just checking on a few things here. I gotta remember not to dip into the snacks in this bag. Although, I mean, let me check. Let me check on the snacks. I think they're still good. No, actually, I could do this little piece right here. I got another one. Yeah. That's good. Just something. I have another one off to the side that I could replace it with. So, I guess I'm doing inventory of my bag and rotating it. It's just a little snack. Not even a snack. It'd be on the lines of like a Jolly Rancher or a piece of candy. Pretty much. That's all. I just replaced it. real quick. Now put the container I have it in back in my bank here for the next time. Keep that going. Tastes good. One of my other followers actually has tried it. I know she likes it. It's a guava flavored candy. I usually keep a version of one in my bag, just in case, right? If I'm hungry or whatever, I can, have it. I'm really trying to choose my words very, very nicely on this. Even though this is a late night stream, I'm like, maybe I won't use that word, or that other word. And maybe not use this other word in the wrong context. Maybe I shouldn't, because it might be funny. Maybe let's put this wrapper away real quick here. I have to check on the solar light. I actually have one of my solar lights in the room. The battery wasn't fully charged. Like, it's one of these guys. Right here, right? It's not fully charged. If that was fully charged, it'd be a lot brighter than that. So I'll put that to the side. I actually have a spot off to the side that I put batteries that need to be topped back off again, because they're running low. Right? So the next time I see some, let's say, sunshine, access to solar energy, right? Especially if it's clear day or whatever. Yeah, those are the batteries I'll pop in. I'll pop into the solar lights first to get them back up, charge them back up, and hopefully get to that 1.2 volt range again, right? At least within that 1.1 to start with, right? So I can just cycle in a different battery. I was looking for this earlier, and I'm like, now I find it. Whatever. I guess I had to use something else. I guess I could show this. Technically, I have shown this before, but no, I don't. WD. I've shown this before. No, I won't show that part of it, but I do what I can, though. I've shown this before. My all. Right here. My all from CR. See? I randomly have this. Yes. I just randomly have that. But yes, I've had this for a little bit. I've actually been thinking of making another one, just because I've actually enjoyed using this as a tool. Like, I've shown this. When did I show this? I showed this back in 2025 when I was dismantling something, right? Because I would use this because it's got a hook on it, right? Sorry. Remember, I have candy in my mouth, so I'm trying to, not swallow it, not choke on it, and not spit it out randomly. But, yeah, I've used this to undo stitching before and stuff like that, because it's not just like a seam ripper, right? I can actually almost use it still as a seam ripper, but basically I would go around the thread and pull it out, and then, especially if I was trying to reuse or reclaim some of the thread, right? Like, I got a seam ripper, but I've actually enjoyed using this. Oh, thanks. But yeah, I've actually enjoyed using. I mean, I just made this. Like, literally, you could almost call it bushcrafting to a certain degree, because, it's a stick, piece of metal. I just made it more fancy, right? I solar engraved that in there. Right? I melted. I burnt the letters in there. That's why it says that, right? That's engraved. That's solar engraved in there, really easily, right? That's why it's special to me. Always make sure I keep charging my phone here. I just keep charging for a little bit. Yeah, because I'm not picking up as much battery as I would like right now. But I am showing a little bit more still. And it's cutting into my power every time I go back outside, that's for sure. But yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, I want to make another version of one. I'm just trying to source up the materials. Okay. Hey, don't get me wrong, this is not quote unquote full tank, alright? I don't quite necessarily need a full tank because I'm pretty sure I'm not prying with it, right? I'm just kind of doing little certain things where I just need access to like a curve all or something like that. Something, whatever you would use a curve all for, right? Maybe get to a spot that you can't really necessarily get to, or not necessarily pry, but like I said, I do stitching, right? I've shown it before. Because depending on how the stitching is, sometimes all I have to do is just go line after line and just pull back. And like literally it's like, right? Like I've shown another video on this where I was, before I showed the DIY part of it, right? Where I was making something and I was disassembling the material, right? I reclaimed that thread to use for the project, or at least to add to the project, right? I still had to add more thread because I needed more backstitching in there to reinforce it, but I just, I'm like, well, it was just as easy. And I was able to reuse some of the thread anyways, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I still needed more thread than what was available, but I'm like, well, I'll reclaim it as much as I could, right? Get it going, right? So, among some other things. And actually, there's... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna actually try this out. Maybe. Let's see, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna try this out. Stuff like hold on a sec. I was showing oops. One of these things that I've been hearing about, like, and I've noticed this, like, I mentioned this in the earlier stream I did earlier in the day, but this whole, if everyone knows, hey, your phone, especially if it's newer and such, right, will have a quote-unquote flashlight app function, right? Some of the videos I hear people talking about it, or AI talking about it, or whatever, right, they say, and hear me out, right, they're like, oh, if you use it, you're gonna kill your battery in like 2 or 3 hours, right? I'm like, I'm like, I don't know about that. However, because I've tried, like, I actually have one right next to me, right? I actually turned this on. And I showed the display part of it, but... Okay, look. That right there, right? I'm not gonna show the screen, but... I have a specific backdrop on it, but... Yeah, see? But yeah, it's got a light function, right? And, people say, I hear, oh, you'll kill your battery in a couple hours, right? Well, I don't know if it's a couple hours. It might be a little bit longer than a couple hours. However, with that said, it's not like 6-7 hours, right? I think it's more closer to like maybe if it was a if it's fully charged and you have it, because I know some of the flashlight apps you can dim it down a bit. So I mean that's a variable right there. But I think you're not. I don't think you're gonna kill your battery for 15 minutes, right? However, I think the more important thing is to actually have a dedicated device for it, right? In terms of preparedness, right? That way you don't actually have to dip into it, right? I mean, yeah, I get it. I've done it too, right? Like even the other day, I didn't bring a flashlight with me because it was daytime, right? I wasn't even going that far. I was helping someone out. However, I didn't need the light source, but I didn't think I would need a light source because it's daytime. And I'm outside, right? But I was helping someone out. The angle that we were at, the shadow was casting, couldn't see it, couldn't notice it, right? And next thing I know, I'm using my phone light, right? I didn't want to, but I mean, I mean, you know what I mean? But, like, don't get me wrong, I got a dedicated light, you know. Well, it's in my jacket pocket, but, like, a stream light or something, like, torch or whatever, right? I got headlamps too, right? But I also realized the device I just showed you is a separate device, right? Legacy device, right? I've mentioned this, who did I mention this to? Gil before, I think, right? I mentioned this in one of his shorts or videos or whatever, right? This is why I have this. The only reason, right? One of many reasons, right? You know, it's too old, can't pick up a new carrier. It's the firmware and all that stuff is outdated, right? Can't use it. It's not gonna load up the newest thing, right? Doesn't have the memory or the capacity to like store a lot, right? Right? Couple gigabytes, whatever, right? But one thing I could still use this for is the flashlight portion of it, as an emergency additional source of it, right? So, let's just say, right now, well, obviously not right now, but, you know, maybe during the summertime or whatever, right? Some sort of power outage, I can dip it, providing I actually have it kind of full. Like, right now it's at 76%, right? I could dip into something like this first, right? And, you know, maybe even use it in conjunction with the solar lights, right? But I can dip into something like this first, just if I needed some area lighting, right? Real quick, right? To a certain spot, right? And go something like that, and just kind of conserve my headlamp, for example, right? Instead of having to have the headlamp on a high mode, I can turn it down to one of the lower settings, right? If that makes any sense. And all I have to do is just keep this going. Maintain it, right? Because as long as the battery works and I can see the display to turn on the flashlight application and some other things, right? Yeah, you should keep going for a little bit, right? Because it's the only thing I'm using it for, right? Like I said, it's outdated, right? Quote unquote obsolete, right? Well, yeah, you're not running the latest stuff. You're not running this or that, right? I'm not running like StreamYard on it or whatever, right? Because it doesn't support the latest firmware update for the device, right? I can't run it, right? I can run something else on it, all right? Although I've always been like that with some of this stuff anyways, right? You know? I've always enjoyed music too, right? So, like, I've had that stuff, always had a version of something to play music, right? These, I don't use it for that, but I do have another device that it's a legacy device, old, right? You know, doesn't have a lot of space or capacity, but there's still one thing I can do with it, so. Actually, two things I can do with it, so. Just like this other one that's in my hand, I can use this as a light version, a light or something like that. And I just realized I left my camera on. But yeah. I mean, I have another one too that I'm going to turn on right here. Another one here too. Alright. Because the thing is, I can't use this with a new carrier or a carrier because it's not supported by the carrier anymore, right? And yes, I can take it to like some sort of e-waste type of facility or whatever, right? Yeah, responsible thing, yeah. Obviously, right? Because obviously, but remember, I'm getting more value out of it by keeping it usable. I'm just not using it for its primary source anymore. A phone device, for example, or checking online or whatever through the web browser, right? There is something else I can still use it for, right? You know, especially some of these might be able to run like, you know, let's say PDFs, right? Portable document format, right? So you can load up, like, say, a survival manual on it or something like that. I have another device that I can load something like that on, but I mean, like, that's why I keep just for that, right? Like, if I, you know, and if I have to use one of these and I drain the battery because for a light function, it's not a big deal for me because it's not my primary source. It's more like an alternative source, right? You know, let's say flashlights or solar lights would be my primary, and my alternative would be something like this. You know, an emergency type of lighting in that case would be, like, say, candles from whatever, right? Something like my contingency option would be wind-up or something like that. Something along the lines of that, right? So, I would use this, you know, provided it's not, like, some EMP or whatever. You know, some sort of electronical type of disturbance or whatever, preventing it from being usable, right? Maybe it's just because, hey, it's in the middle of the summer, there's a heat wave, there's a bunch of heat, people are using air conditioning, power's out for a couple hours or whatever, right? I've actually used this several times for an application like this. I actually have the other one on. Right. So you can hear it. Okay, actually, I think I'm actually gonna try something else here. I actually am gonna. Here, I'll partially turn on the camera here. See? I'm just gonna keep that on the screen here. Yeah, you can see that. I'm just gonna keep that on the screen. That is the light source phone. And their smartphone that's outdated, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. I'm just gonna keep that on. It is at 76% and it is core after. That is the only light source I have on, although I have another light source right here. But I'm gonna keep that on. Run this other device here. Alright. So let's see. Right? I'll run this for a little bit. Because like I said, I've heard, oh, if you're only gonna get like 2 or 3 hours out of it, right? I mean, it depends, right? I mean, I think, you know, I think that's based on, like, if the user has things open. An actual, like, current device phone, right? Smartphone or whatever, right? Like, whatever it is, right? But, I mean, if you got airplane mode on, you got the display turned down, you're not actually running any other apps except for the flashlight function, I feel like you would get a little bit more time than that. You know? I'm not saying you're going to get, like, 4 or 6 hours, but, I mean, you might be able to get a little bit more than just 2 or 3, you know? In my opinion, anyways. That was the other one. Not the one that with the light source, right? Like I said, I am running a... See? Right here. For real. I'm just gonna... Yeah, see, one of my solar lights here. Just so I can see on the side. What's up, Nick? How are you doing, Nick? I appreciate you dropping by, Nick. I'm actually... Actually, I greatly appreciate it because you have dropped by on my live streams and on the videos and left me comments on my community board post, even though it doesn't even relate to you. All right, so that's why I deeply appreciate it. All right, I appreciate that a little bit more than you realize. But basically, right here is a phone with the flashlight portion on. All right, I started it at like quarter after. It's been about 3 minutes. It starts off at 76%. I have the display off. The only thing that's on is the light portion. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, airplane mode on, right? So let's see. Like, I've tried this before for like half an hour or even an hour, right? I mean, let's see. Right? Because I've been watching video and I've heard this, right? Not just from people. Some of the AI generated stuff at times says it too, right? And like, I can understand like having a dedicated device light function, right? So you can conserve your main communication device, your phone, just in case you need that access to it, right? Without dipping into like additional power options like a battery bank or whatever, right? Or using your vehicle to charge it up or to maintain, or your power station, your solar generator that runs on propane gas or tri-fuel, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, right? Or some sort of heat to electricity converter, or why am I forgetting the name right now? I can picture it. Like, yeah, you know what I mean. With that converts heat into electrical energy, right? Why am I forgetting it? I'm remembering the war version of it, the jet boil. When what is it? BioLite. Yeah, BioLite. Yeah, that's what I'm remembering. Right. Right. We're all dipping into that. Yeah. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, this is why I just have this on the side, right? It's like a little here. I'm trying to balance it. I want to keep this in frame right here. Like I said, this is the light portion. I don't want to overdo it. And I'm charging my phone at the same time. But yeah, my earphone that I'm using, right? So it's been 5 minutes and it still says 76. Let's see. I know the battery's gonna drop, right? I just want to see how long. And let's see. You know? Especially if I actually go for another hour. Well, I'm gonna do it for real, right? Because at 76%, right? Let's say on the device, right? I mean, this will vary, I think, right? Because obviously differences in phones and, battery, the capacity of the battery, how new the phone is, how long the battery's been used and all that stuff, right? The upper capacity of it, right? Obviously, this device is not new, right? On the new phone, you might have a little bit more, right? I would assume that, right? Because your battery's still fresh. But on an older one or whatever, right? Because, like I said earlier, yes, I can bring it to some sort of e-waste facility or whatever to get dismantled and recycled, right? Where they would reclaim the parts, right? The lithium, or whatever, right? And yes, that would be a responsible thing to do, right? Don't get me wrong. But if it still has some function to it, or potential function to it, do I need to do that yet, right? I still have that option, alright? I figure if I can use it for a light source, at least for a little bit, right? Squeeze some more value out of it, right? So it's still operational to a certain degree. Because obviously, it's very old. Well, I wouldn't say retro, but it's older. Older. I would just say, obviously, much older. Alright? Much, much older. But, yeah. Let's see what it says. Oh, look, now in 7 minutes now it says 75%. It dropped 1% in 7 minutes, right? You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I got other light sources here. Like, here's another flashlight off to the side right there. Now, what you're seeing is a solar light, right? Right. That's it. Got the light source right there. I got one of my solar lights right here. Like, basically, I'm sitting here, not necessarily in the dark, but like with just a solar. Hold on. I keep that in frame here. Yeah, that'll be good enough. So yeah, you can keep seeing that light from the phone. And basically, I'm just navigating with a solar light. Because if I turn on some other lights, it would ruin the effect. And you wouldn't notice this so much. Like I did earlier. I actually unplugged my lamp that I was originally using to start the video. Start the stream with, but I wanted to do it. And besides, I charged up some of these, so I can use some of it anyways. And I'll do this as a real world test anyways right now. Why not? Let's see here. Keep that in frame here. I mean, it's been about 9-10 minutes, so I've only dropped 1%. I'm not saying it's gonna be proportional or whatever, right? Obviously, but I just want to see half an hour in, maybe an hour in, and just to see where it goes from there, right? Because if I drop down to, let's say, from 75% to 60% in an hour, right? That's still a couple hours at least. A little bit more than that 2 or 3 hours that I've heard, right? But then again, I think that 2 or 3 hours is more based on, like, you know, you got Bluetooth on, you got Wi-Fi on, you got data running, you got your cellular network available, right? It's not in airplane mode. You have the display up higher in terms of brightness and whatever, right? I think if you put in these power saving or battery saving modes on and all that stuff, where a lot of those videos out there recommend, right? You know, I mean, especially in the power outage, if you don't have Wi-Fi anyways, well, you can turn it off. You know, if you're not actively using Bluetooth, you can turn it off, right? To conserve your battery, right? So I can understand that. So let's see. Hold on. Hold on a second. I have to get my coffee. But yeah, let's try this out. Why not? Why not? It seems like I'm just randomly doing things, but there's a point to it. Oh yeah, Nick, if you rewind back, because I think I have the DVR function available for this stream too. If you rewind back, I did show some snow and some outside. I know you won't see it, experience it, but yeah, you can see it. So it's something cool. But just wait. Right? So let's see. See, 11 minutes in, I've dropped 2%, maybe. Alright, maybe. Alright? Let's keep going here, right? I mean, this is an older phone, right? Doesn't have the biggest battery, right? I have the display off, Wi-Fi off, Bluetooth off, airplane mode on, display's off. Only thing running is the light source that I'm running here, which is technically bright enough to see within a room, right? You know, obviously it's not gonna have the hands-free because obviously, right? Because it's not a headlamp, right? But you know, if I'm just sitting in the room, right? Sort of microclimate, right? Or the smaller space or whatever, right? I mean, I'm just looking up on it. I mean, like, if I actually had it on a high spot aiming down, I probably could be able to see within a room. Let's say a bathroom, a bedroom, or something like that. Hell, even a washroom, right? So let's see. Why not? I'm gonna let this keep running here. And yes, I am gonna let this keep running. I just don't take my device with me, my phone with me. It is still running, by the way. I still do have this running. See, I'm just gonna let it run though on the side. I'm actually gonna use it as the light source. I'm actually gonna use it as the light source right now. Why not? All right, let's check on my air. Let's check on my air battery here that I have. Okay? I'm just moving around into space real fast as a check. But yeah, I'm actually gonna use it as a light source too, right? It's not. I'm not really trying to simulate. Oh, hey, it's a power outage. Right now, it's running it. That's all. Information. How? Wow, actually, that's why I told you. And apparently, in the meantime, while I'm doing it, something I started at quarter after, and it's not quite 15 minutes yet. Because I'm gonna try this out. Why not? In real time too. Again. Although I have ran this test before, but I'm gonna run it again. Why not? Why not? And I'll show a few items along the way. I'm actually gonna use the light source actually as a way to show it. Right? I currently do not have any additional lights on. The only thing I'm gonna be using is just what's in my hands. Okay? And yes, this will make an appearance here. Yeah, see? I did put them away for a little bit, but I opened them back out for a little bit. So you know that I'm actually, like, serious here. See? The device is still in my hands. Let's see what it says. Oh, yeah. 15 minutes? I've only dropped maybe 1.5% in 15 minutes. Right. Let's see if the math or the trend holds out on it, right? Because by my estimation, if I go to the top of the hour, the device should only lose like, because it's at 74%, go down to like 68%, right? Let's see if that holds true. Let's see if my prediction holds true. So at the top of the hour, I will check it again, right? And I'm leaving it on because I have every arrow laid off, so it's the only light source I'm using to navigate, right? You know, is this supposed to replace like a headlamp, right, or a flashlight? No, right? You know, of course not, right? Because I've realized these foam lights, right? They have a more flood approach to it, floodlight, right? You don't have to focus, right? Like, it's good for, like, let's say a room or something like that, but you don't get the distance, right? You don't have the focus that you might get on something else. Like, let me see here. Well, it's showing. Alright, here. Like, if I turn this on, my battery back on, right? That's the phone light. Here's my stream light, right? I get a more focus, right? See my stream light right here. But there is a difference, right? There is a difference because my stream light uses conventional batteries or more typical rechargeable battery like a AA or AAA. Well, AAA in this case, right? So, like, if I don't see the device I'm using, the phone, quote unquote, light, I'm using to navigate, right? Without the charger, nothing, right? Right? If you don't have the charging cable, right? That's the thing. when I look at some of these kits out there, right, especially like a Go Bag or whatever, I'm always looking to see like, oh, did they pack a dedicated charger or a spare one in there, right? Because without the charger, right, it's kind of like, well, it's pretty much single use, I guess, right? Because without a charger, it's just like a solar light. If you don't have the batteries to recharge it, basically it's single use, right? If that makes any sense. So let's see here. Now it says 73%, right? It's been about 18 minutes. And I started off at 76. I'm pretty sure my prediction might be wrong. It might go down to like 65%. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be closer to 65. I don't think I'll actually keep seeing it at 69, 70% at the top of the hour. We'll see. Let's see if my prediction's right. Right? Let's see if my prediction's right. So I'll run with this for a little bit. I mean, if I hang it up high, it's gonna give me some area lighting. It's not gonna give me like focus light, right, in the distance, right? Something I would like to have like a headlamp or a flashlight or a torch to use, right? For you folks out there that use that terminology. I always start to add in the terminology in, right? Right. That's why lately I've been like using some of these other words in there. Right? The pronunciation of certain words, right? That's why I was just like earlier when I was showing the seating pad, I'm like, yes, it's aluminum or aluminium coated. Yeah, see, I'm trying to. That way everyone knows what I'm talking about, no matter where you are in the world. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get my coffee on the side here, real quick here. All right. Put something away, real quickly here. Alright. I gotta put something away. I still have the light source on. I'm just putting what I showed these mitts away. I just wanted to show them real quick. I gotta put them back in the little baggie I'm storing them in. I don't know. Was it this one? Yeah, I think it was this one. Put this away here. See that? If you notice, this is not hands-free, right? This is not hands-free. Alright, so I gotta use. See, I still have it on. So I still have it on. I just had to put this away. I still have to actually put it away, by the way. But like I said, I'm only using the device to navigate with, right? I do not have my device that I'm recording the stream on lighting the way. I'm using a different device as part of this. Let's try this out. For real. Like, real. Alright. See, and actually do things on the side while I'm doing this too. Like, randomly pick up that piece of paper that I dropped like 20 minutes ago. Because it's within my pocket. Let me highlight that. The battery capacity on a retrievable lights, I remember I'm quoting here. When Nick said, on retrievable lights and other backup sources are critical. It is very wise to get a benchmark to, yeah. Kind of like more or less, right? And not quite assume things, right? All the way, right? Just kind of, at least, maybe, if not within the ballpark, at least closer to, like, home plate. If that makes any sense, right? To use baseball terms to explain it, but yes. Oh. I appreciate that comment, Nick. Yes. Like, because I've seen people use their light on their phones too, right? So, like, I'm always like, oh, hey, you left your light on your phone, right? But I'm always realizing, I'm like, how much power? I mean, yeah, I think the lights are, like, I think this goes without saying. Because I'm using the light, the battery will go down faster compared to not using it. I think that should be an obvious thing, right? I'm not getting light from nothing, right? It's using battery power within the device itself, right? So the battery will go down. But is it as fast as as like some videos put it out there? Right? Is it that fast, or is it because you're using like Bluetooth? You have your Bluetooth headset on. You still have Wi-Fi on. You still have data running. All right. You're not in. You have your display on. You don't have some sort of power saver, low power mode, depending or whatever on, right? Because something like this, like I said, I can dip into this if I want to. Alright? I've actually have spots. Actually, I'll randomly sit in the washroom right now for a little bit. Just cuz, alright? But yes, this is why I'm running it. Alright, what? Hold on, I gotta look at the time again. Yeah. I'll check in 7 minutes because that'll be exactly half an hour in. Because I actually started the test, well, at least to see at quarter after, so. Actually, I'll just take a look. Now it says 72%. So basically in like 20 minutes I've dropped 4%. Okay, maybe there could be 3 hours, maybe there is, right? Right? But is it quite like that? I'm just gonna try this out at least for an hour. I'm actually gonna try this for another half an hour at least. Okay. Just to get a sense of it. I think as I use it longer, I think it would go down. But, if it's spaciously, just reserving it on and off only when necessary, right? I think maybe it would go a little bit longer, right? But like I said, this is like a phone light would be more like a contingency for me in terms of lighting. A primary source would probably be like a flashlight, torch, or headlamp, right? Solar might be like the alternative, right? A phone battery like this or something similar to that, maybe a contingency. And something like candles, for example, would be an emergency option, right? Just to pace myself with an acronym, right? I mean, like I said, that's all I'm using right now to navigate. Right now is this light. Yeah, obviously this is not hands-free, right? So it's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. But there's a way, there's videos and ways of, oh, hey, you can use a container that has water in it and connect your headlamp to it to make a diffuser to make some sort of lantern or whatever, right? I mean, yeah. You could do something like that. I could probably do that too with this. Just because it doesn't have a band on it or a strap on it, right? I could probably just tape it on, right? If I really had to or whatever, right? Actually, now that I think about it, let's just say you had like a water jug or whatever, and it's got like maybe a side that's kind of flat or whatever. And you probably could do it with a round one too, right? Like, even though it doesn't have a strap like a headlamp would or a band. If you have some knowledge and some air resources, like some air cordage, like paracord or whatever, right? I could just tie it on. Tie the light source onto it directly, right? Use something like a taut line hitch, right? Some sort of friction-based hitch or not, right? To tie it together. In the meantime, right? Because you're not really moving it with it, right? The water container sitting on the table, you're just using it because it's there, right? Just a thought. Alright. Just a thought. As I get some other things ready. Apparently, I'm gonna do some other things while I'm doing this too. Yeah, sorry. I'm not actually doing this, but actually doing this at the same time. And yes, I'm moving a few things out of the way. That's why you're hearing some little things. Randomly moving some cardboard. While I'm at it too. Because apparently I need to break down some cardboard boxes too. But yes, I am moving within the space with this. right? Like, I do know ways of making a phone hands-free if absolutely necessary, right? You know, isn't as ideal as a headlamp? Maybe not, right? But as an option. I'm sure there are ways to make hands-free, right? Like, I get, hands-free headlamp, yeah, lots of benefits to it, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I got them too, right? I use, depending on what I'm doing, right? I've used them biking. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I have them. It's actually for biking purposes, right? At night, right? Because it's much easier, right? It's much easier. Yeah, it's much easier to see, and I can focus on what I want to see. Versus if it was on the handlebars, right? Because if I'm turning or whatever, let's just say I'm turning left or right or whatever, well, the light source is always going to aim that way. Because it's on the handlebars, it's not on me. If it's on my, like a headlamp or whatever, I can turn my head and check. Without necessarily turning the handlebars to see that same spot, if that makes any sense, right? So, I mean, this is why I have headlamp, like, like this one right here. Yes, I still have it. See, I've worn it down, right? I've worn down the strap on it, the band on it a little bit, but it'll still function. Still turns on. I mean, like, yeah, I know my headlamps are much brighter than the phone light, and it's more. I get a better spot on it, or distance wise. You know. Do some other things while I'm doing this too. Why not? Why not? Why not? I got some stuff I gotta move around anyway. I gotta restock a few things anyway. So I figured might as well do it at the same time while I'm doing this. Why not? Alright, so now it is exactly half an hour. It's 1:45 right now. Because I can see it on the clock. My device says 71%. So I dropped 5%. 5% in half an hour. Okay? Is this don't translate exactly proportional, like, half an hour, 5%, right? We'll see. Right? Let's see in another half an hour, right? I think my estimation about that 65% might be accurate. If it holds true, the numbers, it should say it's like 66%, 65% in a half an hour from now. Right? Which will be exactly an hour of runtime. Continuous, right? Didn't turn it off or anything like that, right? And I'm actually using it to navigate. That's why I'm actually moving around in the space that I'm in right now, right? Yeah. Yep. A headlamp is super useful. They are generally heavy on the... Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, like, heavy on the batteries or whatever, right? I know some people don't like the tightness around their forehead, yeah, and stuff like that, right? The tension and all that stuff, right? So, I mean, I'm navigating just through this, right? Yeah, obviously, like I said, I'm holding it, right? So obviously I only got one hand available. I'm holding the device I'm recording the stream and the light source itself, right? Which is another smartphone, right? But yeah, so my hand would have been busy tied up anyways. I gotta remember my wording here. Even though this is supposed to be a late night stream, I gotta remember my wording here as much as possible. But yeah. As I take a look at some other things here. Well, actually, yeah, maybe I'll try something else while I'm at it. Yeah, maybe I will try something else while I'm at it. Alright. Down. Why did I get this? I don't know why I randomly just picked up this tin that I had. I'm like, why am I bringing that tin? I was supposed to put it away. Some other things I have, which includes some of these scissors I've had. I gotta make sure I put them back in the spot that I usually leave them. My utility type scissors, right? I generally use them for like cardboard and stuff like that, right? Like I know you can quote unquote cut cardboard with a cutting tool like a knife, right? But sometimes it's just easier just to use scissors and just kind of shear it, if that makes any sense, right? From both sides, right? And besides, I don't have to wear down the cutting edge on like a knife or something like that. And I can just use, like, I'll show you guys them. Because they're not that sharp, and that's why I don't use them for any other reason now. See these guys right here, right? Shears right here. I've had them for a while. I only use these for like cardboard now. Maybe paper, right? It will not cut fabric anymore because, yeah, they're kind of dull. Because I've actually used them for cardboard, right? Cut them cardboard or whatever, boxes or whatever, right? Kind of flatten them out, compress them down or whatever, right? And that's what I would use them for. So, just putting them back into this other spot that I keep some air supplies. So, basically now I use them like a utility shears. Or scissors instead, right? Boxes, stuff like that, right? Something that would wear down an edge on like a cutting tool in time, if I did it enough times, right? So let's see how long. I still gotta wait like 25 minutes. I just want to run this test at least an hour in real time, as much as possible, and do some commentary while I'm doing it, and see how effectively can I actually get some work, do some things, even though I'm not using a headlamp, and I'm holding a device in my hands, right? Like, obviously, if I was doing something like sewing, or whatever, right? Yeah. I need both hands to sew. It's just the way it is, right? You know? It's kind of difficult to hand sew with one hand. That'd be a challenge, actually, right there. I'm not saying it wouldn't be possible without being able to hold the material or, or whatever, right? Because you gotta pull the thread and all that stuff, right? I mean, there's probably devices to help you. But I do not have one of those. I have to do it by hand. And honestly, if I was trying to tie a knot right here, yeah, that's kind of difficult, right? I think there is one thing I gotta actually, in terms of cordage, right? I actually have random cordage on there, right, on the table right now. There is actually one thing I actually need to actually pick up. I need to learn the other way of making a bowline. I know how to make it with that kind of like, go under, over, around, and through the rabbit hole and put back out, or whatever that saying is. Like, I know how to make a bowline through that method, right? But I think I need to actually learn the one-handed method of doing it, or at least try it some more, Because right now I feel like I could actually use that right now, right? If it was long enough, right? But I think another reason why I haven't really done it is because, like, the cordage has to be long enough, because usually when people are doing it one-handed, right, it's usually because someone didn't, let's say, like a safety rope or whatever, right, let's just say, and you're gonna tie it yourself, right, well, you still have to hold on to it, yet tie it onto you without losing grip on the line, right, hence, one-handed method of doing it, and, right, but usually it goes around your waist, and people are doing it with, like, one hand, and I feel like you need enough slack, enough distance to start it, right? Versus, like, if I was doing it with two hands, I can make the bowline a little bit, that fixed loop a little bit narrower or smaller of a loop, right? If that makes any sense. Because I'm not trying to go around my waist. I'm just trying to make a fixed loop for, let's say, a shelter system or whatever, right? Something that you're using, like, a fixed loop at the end. You're running it through the line using some sort of stick or as a toggle, right? And you're running some sort of like trucker stage or something like that to get that the mechanical advantage of it or whatever, right? And the conjunction with maybe some other things, right? Like pegs and all that stuff, right? So let's see. It's about 7 minutes. So let's see again. Yeah, it says 69%. Yeah, I bet they are, Nick. So let's see. Will it drop more than 4 or 5% in the next 20 minutes? Let's see. Well, I'm just, like I said, the only thing I'm doing is I only have the light source on, don't I? Alright. Like, I can well, I'm trying to show a spot without showing some other things. And yeah, see? That's the only thing I have on. This is the only light source I'm using. Only light source I'm using. Alright. Smartphone. But I'm trying it out, like I said. Oh yeah. I've used stuff like that before too, Nick. I mean, they are smaller generally than shears, right? But you know, if I'm trying to cut cardboard or whatever, let's just say because I have to find it or whatever, and little scissors on like a multi-tool or SAK or whatever, maybe a little bit not quite ideal, right? I'm not saying you can do it, but I'd rather have shears or something that's kind of like very comfortable in my hands. I could get a lot of leverage or whatever, right? You know. So let's see. I'm still running it, and yeah. Take care of a few things while I'm at it too, apparently. Oh. Run some other thing. Okay. Here's one thing. If I set it, I can actually set it on a clear glass or a cup, right? And have it like. I won't show the cup because it's got branding on it, but yeah. On my table right here. Okay, see, the light source is right above, right? So yeah. And I don't quite show all of it, but yeah. There's a cup right there that I'm using. For this, right? You know, if I focus it on above to face against the ceiling, it's kind of harder to see the ground or what's down lower, but you know, I can get a more of a general. Hey, I can not, you know, be like, go around the corner and be like, oh, that hurts. Oh, what happens here? I stubbed my toe because I didn't see the corner, right? I'm emphasizing that, by the way. It didn't really happen, but you know what I mean. Something silly like that, just because I couldn't see that I misjudged the corner or something like that. All right. And it does happen. I mean, like, if it happens to me when I actually can't see during the daytime, just because I'm like, I misjudged the distance, right? I thought I had more distance away from the wall or from the corner than I thought, right? And it usually does not happen to me, but rarely doesn't happen to me, but sometimes it does, right? I just feel like it would be more likely if I couldn't see what I'm doing, right? Because I can't judge the distance, right? I can't judge the distance of it. You know, like imagine trying to walk in, like even if your own home, right? Everyone's own home right now, right? I mean, generally, you're the one that knows the area the best because you're living in that area, that space all the time. You interact in the space all the time, right? When you're also interacting in that space in the light, daylight, or with a light source. Because the grid's on, a lamp or whatever, right? A headlamp, a flashlight, or in my case, of using a smartphone as a light source, right? So, but when you can't see in that, right? Unless you have reference points that you remember, like, think about it. Like, for someone that's blind, they always need a reference point. Because if you can see, you have visual reference points. But when you can't see it, they're doing it, that whole stick thing or this clicking thing that I've heard, right? Apparently it's a thing. Although I don't know anyone that's really blind, so, so I can't verify that. But I'm like, so from what I've heard and stuff like that, right? And yes, everyone, I still have one of my solar lights on. Actually, I think I'll put it over here. I'm moving within, let's say, a washroom. Let's say a kitchen and a living room type of space, right? I mean, I'm not saying I can see every last detail like I can read, right? But I'm also, like, able to walk through this space without stubbing a toe. Or I can see the ground, right? I could, be like, hey, my bag's on the ground. I can see it, even though it's black, right? I can still notice it, even though I'm only using 2 light sources, right? And this is without using, like, let's say a headlamp, right? Like, if I threw on, like, the headlamp I had on, if I threw it on right now and turned it on, or whatever, or whatever, take care, Nick. I appreciate you dropping by, man. I think one of my batteries must be dislodged in my headlamp. Let me take a look here. So yes, officially I do need to run it for another 15 minutes, at least. Alright, so it's pretty much the top of the hour, 45 minutes. Alright. Let's see where I'm at. 68%. So, 45 minutes of light. Like, this ain't, like, set in stone because of the differences in devices and brightness and all that stuff, but from 76% to 68%, I lost 8% of battery on this device that I'm using as this example, and I got 45 minutes of light out of it. Okay. That seems like that might go a little longer than that 2 or 3 hours I've heard about, alright? So I'm gonna keep going here for a little bit. At least until that quarter aftermarket, because I actually want to see it. I'm still guessing, I still think I'm gonna get into that 65% range. Maybe 64. Let's see if my prediction is correct here. As I move around in my space right here. Among some other things. Such as putting my air seating pad away, because apparently I should put it away. And some other things here. Like, I almost feel like I can clean while I'm doing this, but not actually gonna do it. Because I need a little bit more light than this to see. I mean, I can actually see what I'm doing, right? But also this light is right next to me, not that far away, and also I'm holding it, right? Some of this other stuff I have out, right? Such as this randomly. Indoor thing, by the way. Just saying, right? I could see something like this. Yeah. I was wondering where that cord went off to. I was like looking for it. So that's where it went. Maybe I was kind of glad I did that now. I'll put some other things away while I'm at it. I think I will go until the bottom of the hour. I will go at least until the quarter after. I think I'll go to that 3 hour mark. Because I need to finish running the test anyways. And besides, if everyone's here watching this on the replay, well, you can find out what it will be. But I think my prediction about 65% will probably be accurate. Right? And maybe I'll try this again. Right? And try this again. Although maybe I'll try it again while I'm still up and run it. Doing the runtime test. Just to see for myself. And remember, this is a legacy hey, this is obsolete type of tech, right? Well, maybe for its initial or primary use, right? Like I said, this phone I'm using to light the way that I'm using right now, not the one I'm recording on, to light the way, the path forward here, right? It cannot support a new carrier. It's not, the device is no longer supported, right? You can't get a number for it, right? So instead of, like I said, selling it for spare parts, which I could if I really wanted to, or bring it into an e-waste type of facility or whatever, so I can quote unquote properly get, taken care of, right? I'm still getting use out of it right now. It's helping me navigate, for example, right? I could use something else. I have other things I can use, but right now I'm using it. And put that multi-tool away here. Keep going here for a little bit. Check on my air batteries here. Yeah, that one's still full. Other things. Like, I have other light sources, right? And you're probably like, see, or, what happens if you had something else or whatever, right? This, I could be using this first, or one of my more I shouldn't say primary, but one of my first type of options, right? Or as a way to be like, let's just say, access to certain little things or whatever, right? I could top off the battery on this, for example, right? On the solar light, the batteries for the solar lights, right? That I'm using and stuff like that, right? That's part of it, right? And conserve, like, I know it kind of seems like backwards, but like, use this and sacrifice the battery on this device to preserve the battery of my main device. Hence, phone, for example, right? That way I can still use the device. Like, for example, I'm using a phone to light the path and a different phone to stream with, right? Two separate devices. And because they're two separate things, right, I can move them away from each other. They're not tied or tethered together all the way, right? Like, and another thing about, like, having, like, I know I'm using a flashlight on the phone for navigation right now, but I don't usually do it like this. But I usually use, like, a flashlight or a headlamp or a flashlight, right? I do have some other options, right? But, like I said, this is just a different option. And because it's two separate devices now, I can be like, here, yes, Sierra, can you take this for a sec? I'm gonna keep walking with my phone over here, or whatever, right? Because I've helped people with, like, don't get me wrong, I've seen this. I'm helping people, and it's at night, right? And they're taking out their flashlight out of their phone, right? And I get that, right? Because it's there, you already got it, right? It is convenient, right? However, one of the things is, like, if I was doing a stream and was showing you guys something, right, it's tied in directly to that device, right? If I can't change the distance of the light because it's tied into the device, right? If I wanted to show something that's, because I'm doing this with one hand. Let me show this, right? I can move the light closer or away from the thing I'm trying to show. But if it was tied into the phone, it'd always be like this. I would always be, the difference right there? If that makes any sense. Yes, see, I have some things on the side here. I didn't even realize I was showing, but yes. Let's see. Well, there are 8 more minutes. Let's see. Oh, 67%. Maybe it is accurate. Maybe that 65, 64, like I said, maybe it is a good prediction. Because clearly, the math's holding out at least. I mean, I haven't ran it all the way down, right? I would have to see if the math or the numbers can still hold out, or is it like, you know what I mean? Can I make a prediction? Can I infer that, hey, is it gonna be like this, or should I actually keep going with it? Right? I actually might even after I end the stream, probably at the bottom of the hour, I'll probably still keep running it for another. Well, because I'll go an extra 15 minutes, probably another 45 minutes after the fact too, just to see. Because if I'm going down 9%, let's say even 10% an hour, that's still quite a bit of time. But let's see if it holds out, right? Or is it proportional, right? Time, runtime, all that stuff, right? So let's see. Let's see. Why not? And apparently, like my battery on my device that I'm recording, doing the stream on, I need more power. All right. I actually have to plug it back in here. So let's run this here. Why not? Nope. Hold on. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Show me the menu here. Okay. Just gotta make sure it's still charging. Alright. I'll let this. I'll actually turn my camera back on and you can see. You can see that light. I'm just gonna leave it on. Right? Leave that right. Oops. Leave that on while I'm charging. Well, actually, let's turn it off because I gotta charge my device itself. My phone device itself. Well, let's see. Let's see. What time is it right here? Yeah, it's about 9 after. I'll wait another 6 minutes. But yeah, I think my prediction's gonna be correct. I'm gonna make a prediction here for another hour. From 76 to... Let's see here. Hold on. From 76 to... Now, it's at 66%. So I dropped about 10% in 55 minutes. Right? So, in theory, if I went at this for another hour, 65 minutes, hour and 5 minutes, it would probably be at, what, 55% from 65. I mean, you'll have to wait, or unless I decide to stream that long, but I'll have to wait for it, but let's see if that holds true. Because, like I said, I'm probably going to go until the bottom of the hour. I need to take care of a few things. And actually, there's some things I actually have to do anyways. But I'll probably use the device since I'm at it anyways. Because the reason why I'm doing it this way is because, let's say, as an option or whatever, right? And basically that's why I'm doing it, as an option. So I have some options. So it's not just a headlamp. It's not just a flashlight. I actually have some other options in there that I can dip into, resort into if I absolutely necessary, right? I can see into the room with a solar light. I'm using a phone to see within on my table right here. If I hung it up closer up to the ceiling and mimic like an overhead light where the light source is up high and it's aiming down, I'd be able to see all the ground, my table, right, for what it is. Maybe even read with, right? Obviously, things like operational security offset would be important too, right? Light discipline and stuff like that, right? The grid's up right now, so yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Right? People would probably think, Sierra's partying, he's got some lights on, right? Especially if I turn on some, like, blue lights on. They're probably like, he's partying or something like that, right? They wouldn't know that I'm doing something. or whatever, right? Or they think it's probably like a nightlight or something like that, right? Let's see here. Well, it's almost that time. Yeah, I still see it at 66%. I got 90 seconds till core after. So yeah, about 10, at least with this device I'm using, from the numbers, just trying this out again. I've done this before, but even just doing it right now, about 10% for an hour's worth of the flashlight function on it, right? That's not too bad. That's not. I'm not saying like, oh, hey, just only use that, right? It is convenient, but it also drains your battery in terms of not, because that 10% also means that I can't use that 10% to make a call. Like if it was my primary device, right? I can't check on something. I can't get notifications in terms of like it's a crucial update, right? Say I've noticed or whatever, right? Right. You know what I mean? Like or text important text message or important call or whatever, right? Yep. See, now it says 65%, and it's about 14 after. It's been about an hour, more or less, 59 minutes, 58 and a half, somewhere 59 minutes. So, yeah. Yeah, so it's about 10%. I still think what I've seen before, 10% per hour. So I'm gonna run this for another hour. I'm just gonna actually use this as the light source right now. I actually have it facing against the wall right now. Alright. Using the wall itself as the diffuser. Oh yeah, I forgot I have one of my phone stands. That's another reason about there could be a convenience about something like this, because usually content creators actually have their phone stands or phone adapters too, right? So like I'm actually can use that too. Like I actually have a phone stand that supports the phone in a vertical aspect ratio, right? That you would usually use for like shorts or whatever, right? Or reels on Instagram. But it tilts up and down, right? So I'm basically using it right now as a way to aim the light source, right? I mean, like, I'm not saying I can do like sewing with this too far away, right? But if it's close enough, if I'm close enough to it, I probably could do it, right? See now exactly that 15-minute mark. I mean 15-minute hour mark. Yep, 65%. So I'll probably go for another 15 minutes here. I'll go to that 3 hour mark. I just want to see. So by my estimation here, it's like almost like 2.5% per 15 minutes. So by the end of the stream, that battery on the light source I'm using should end up at 63, 62%. Let's see if it holds out. Let's see if the math holds out too. Is it proportional, right? Oh, I kind of like this, actually. Yeah. I just have it facing against the wall. It's bouncing the light source off the wall. Using a wall as the diffuser. Right? Let's say a white wall or whatever. I mean, it could be a piece of paper too. Really, right? As a diffuser, right? I've showed many different kind of diffusers. It just depends what you have access to. Right? A lot of different things can be used as one. A lighter could be used as one too. I think I haven't made an update video on it because I feel like I've shown enough of it or all of it, but there may be a few extra things, right? Plastic, a lighter, a balloon, a pan. Well, even foil to a certain degree could be used as a diffuser, to a certain degree, or the way to like change the angle of the light, especially if you were using it for signaling purposes or whatever, right? So. I'm gonna plug my recording device here. I'm just not. Oops, you weren't supposed to hear that because it slipped off the stand, but I gotta remember how to use it. Oh. Hold on a second. Looks like I need to check on this flashlight I have here. I seem to notice something right here. Hopefully it was just a mishap. I've seen this twice today for me. I'm just like, why is it randomly on? I think it's because I dislodged something or I didn't secure this all the way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's still good. Or I just dislodged it or slightly unscrewed the top of where the button is by accident. So I'm just gonna let this light source run here. That's the only thing about having a light source that's closer to the ground than up high. It's hard to see the ground. This is why a lot of the time, like, if I ever really had to dip into this stuff, for real, right? Because it's really happening, I'll actually have to put the light source up higher. Or at least aim the light source down. Or at least be able to see the ground. Not necessarily up all the way up to the ceiling, but it could be like, you know, chest height or whatever. As long as I can see the ground, that's the more important thing, right? Everything else I probably could make out, right? Like right now, like I can see, here's a pot right here, right? I can notice it, right? Stuff like, obviously, I do have some ambient light going around, so that I can't control because it's external, but some of this other stuff I can. I'll actually go into another room here that has no external light source. Because there's no windows. Or at least not much of them, right? I mean, like, just taking a look. I'm like, yeah, I can still see. Even with only the light source itself, right? You know, it's not too bad. If I had to stay in this one room or whatever, right? I can still see what I'm doing. Right? You know, let's say I'm sheltering in place or whatever, right? Yeah, go from there. What time is it? I think, yeah, it's 20 after, so about 10 more minutes. And I see it at 64%. So let's see if I can, let's see if it gets to 62% in 20 minutes. 20 minutes and 10 minutes. Let's see. Let's check on something else while I'm at it too. Some other inventory things. Actually, and besides, I reorganized a few things anyways. And apparently I need to empty out this box. I have some stuff in. Yes, I'm randomly doing some random food inventory. It's actually not really in food inventory. It's more like the box. There's still one left in the box, and I'm just gonna like pull it out and take the box with me. Right, so I can get quote unquote reused or recycled, one of the two. Right. So I figured I might as well do that while I'm doing this. Right. And not just run the light for no reason. I'm actually gonna do something while I'm doing it, right? That's why I'm actually only using it right now. Don't get me wrong, I could power within inside right now. I could just use it, right? But I just wanted to try this out. And actually get the use out of it while I'm doing this. Why not? Why not? Just put all my phone stands I have. Oh yeah. Alright. Actually, now that I think about it, I almost feel like I can actually use this. I think I might have actually used it before as when I was recording a video. Because I needed like a secondary light source. Right? Or something like that. Oh, no. It's because I was trying to conserve my battery on my recording device. Hence, what I'm streaming with. So instead of using a light on it, I used a different light from a different source. That's separate, right? So they're using separate batteries or separate power sources, right? So, yeah, I think, yeah, something like that. That's how I ran with it before. I decided to start trying it like this a little bit more. And yes, it's still in my hands. About 8 more minutes. Let's see here. You know, I got some other light sources right here. just to see, gauge it for myself, like I said. Alright, because I can always top it, well, not now, but I'm gonna run the test first, but, top it off, switch it to air off, and kind of have some, as long as I check it every so often, every few months, right, top it off or whatever, right, I can have some emergency lighting, another source of emergency lighting, right. In addition to, let's say, a headlamp, a flashlight, those main sources, or a solar light, right? Those type of main sources, right? To complement those, or let's say a hurricane lamp or something along oil lamp, that kind of stuff, right? Or candles and stuff like that. Well, 7 more minutes, and I'm at, now it's 6 more minutes. It just switched over, but to 24 after, but yeah, 63%. So I dropped 13% in almost 70 minutes. Okay. Okay, 70 minutes, and I dropped like, let's see, 14%. Well, I would say 13. Well, let's just round that up to 15%. Right. So if by my estimations, that would be like 4 hours worth. At least, assuming the battery was all the way up at that high 90% range, right? 95% range, or maybe fully charged, right? Obviously, if I only had 10%, if I only had like 20% battery power left, at the moment I'd be at 5% left. By the math, anyways, on how I'm doing it. So we'll keep going here. Let's lunch. Plug in some more stuff I'm added to. I'm actually kind of glad I'm actually doing this too, because I gotta realize, like, if I'm actually gonna navigate with something like this, alright, it's also a pretty good idea not to have certain little things on the ground. Right? I mean, I try not to leave things on the ground, but, when things happen, you put a bag down, and you put a reusable bag down temporarily, right? Things slide out of the way, or whatever. I mean, like, right now I got a battery bank on the ground, charging, but I can see it. It's, the indicator on it's glowing. I can see it. It's not that bright, but I can notice it. That's why that battery bank, that's why you see certain things on it. It's because the battery bank is black, right? So it's actually easier if I have, well, that's why there's something white on it. So it actually stands out right now. Because if I just maybe had a dimmer light source, or whenever, like, let's say a glow stick, I could still notice it, right? Instead of, hey, where did I put my battery bank? Right? It's like, which one's the black one? Oh, the black one. I don't know, man. That's like a needle in a haystack. It's not to be hidden. It's not to be camouflage or hidden or whatever, right? But since it's got some white on it too, it stands out a little bit better. All right. I'll be like, oh yeah, it's a black battery pack, but it's got like white on it. I gotta put a white sticker on it or whatever, right? That's why I always do it like that. And the things I have on it, I could easily remove it if I want to. It's just extra little things I've added on, right? Yeah, see, it's still holding at that 63%. And I got 3 minutes left to the bottom of the hour. So yes, I think my prediction is right in terms of 62. So 80, let's see, 15 plus 60 is 75, so about 72 minutes. 72 minutes, and I dropped like 14%. So that would mean 5 hour, if the math holds up, right, in terms of 5 hours. So from 75 minutes to 5 hours, right? I would have to times it by 4. Let's see, 14 times, 15 times 4 is 60%. So, I mean, in theory, if I was at 90%, and I could, in theory, I would have to test it all the way around, and not just assume, but based on just the math, just this little itty bit of it that I tried out right now, by my estimations, I can get like 5 hours and only lose 60% of the battery for 5 hours of light, though. I mean, is it the math to hold up? I don't know. I have to try it all the way, right? I'm just trying really small sections of this right now, right? But at least now I know, hey, I can at least get an hour worth of it, right? And it, yeah. Yeah, see, now it's about 29 after, and I'm at 62%, so yeah. To me, that makes sense. And I think this is going to be the 2-minute warning for this stream. Because like I said, I did not actually eat this evening. Because I was doing stuff and I am streaming. So I appreciate everyone dropping by. Especially Nick, who was in earlier. I do appreciate it. And other people that dropped by earlier too. Dave. Howie. Sunflower. Alright. And shout out to the replay gang. If you're watching this on the replay randomly, well, yeah. Alright. See? Solar light. See? Solar light. Anyways, I don't want to shine a light in the camera. Okay. I don't know. Let's see what this looks like if I actually use both lights. Of course, now I can't see it. Yeah, see? You can see my solar light that I'm using. Alright. These are the only 2 lights I've been using for the last, like, hour and 15. Alright. To try it out. Anyways, I appreciate everyone dropping by on this live stream. And stay tuned for another live stream for me this weekend. I'm not sure when. Maybe this Saturday, Sunday, I don't know. We'll see how it goes now. So, everyone. Like always. The world we're in is changing. Slowly, steadily. Sometimes a little bit faster at times, right? Hence, we need to stay proactive and adapt with those changes as while they're, and maybe plan ahead whenever possible and be proactive, right? Be less reactive. And when possible, try to pick up a new skill out there, right? Like cooking. Cooking with what you got, right? Cooking with the staples, right? When possible. Test out apply that skill whenever it is, like sewing. Gain some more experience, right? Maybe not always assume things, right? Your device says, oh yes, it takes an hour to recharge up to 80% of it. Is it really true? Try it for yourself. Don't assume. Know for sure, because you've seen it. Not just, oh, it says it in the manual. People say it is, right? And actually do it, right? How accurate is it? And when possible, try to help someone the best that you can. With what you got, alright? And try to help. Try, right? Do what you can, alright? Whenever possible. Alright, everyone. I will catch you all next time. Take care. And then until the next stream for me. Test. Creation mode. Combination mode, maybe. Live stream. Prepping chat. PREP chat. Solar video. Kid video. Etc, etc. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye, everyone. I'm gonna run this for a little bit longer.